Okay, this should be our last mini section for, in fact, this entire project, not just this lab. And I'm going to jump right back into Pro, okay? And let's go from elevation to hydrology. Remember, you don't need to open up any maps, just the layouts, okay? And before we jump into hydrology, once it's loaded in there for you, what you want to do is lock everything up here. It's just a good rule of thumb when you're finished with a map. And then what you can do is we are going to unlock the outer border, the scale, and the title. Okay, so you can hold down Shift and then right click and just copy those. Okay, now come over to your hydrology map, okay, and you can just do a Control V and that will paste all of those in place. You can see I've already done that. So why don't we start with the title, get that out of the way. We can double click on that, okay, and let's come over here and let's call this Hydrology on the Llano Estacado. Okay, and what we're going to do is once it's selected, it should be selected, go to Align, and this is kind of an annoying bug they didn't catch because you got to do it twice and then come back and do Align Center. Okay, so that looks good. Now we can lock that up. We can also lock up the outer border. Now for the scale, why don't we take care of the scale and the credits at the same time? All right. So I'm going to pause the drawing process. Okay. And we do get this reference scale that comes in. Okay. It's the same for every map. And what I did here, okay, this should probably be off your screen because we had this turned off and locked, okay? So turn that back on, okay? And the way we can format this is double click on the icon, okay? And it is our service layer credits, okay? And we're just going to choose this adjust height, okay? And let's draw it out so you can see everything, all right? And then come over to the paintbrush and just do what we've been doing for the background. Make that white and a 0.05, 0.05 there, okay? And then we can just bring this here and align it with our reference scale, okay? Now we want this to be aligned with our name and title block. So just come over here and right click and choose Add Guide, and that looks pretty good. And then we can come back over here and shift select our reference and then just bring both of those up right there on the Smart Guide. Okay, great. So let's lock everything down up top, okay? So really our whole layout is done, all right? All of these elements are finished. Now let's work on our map, and we're gonna come up here to layout, and we're gonna choose this full extent. And now at this point, we will turn the drawing back on, okay? And here's what I've done here. I think a lot of you created some wonderful maps with this theme, this hydrology theme. I really liked what you did. So I have two elevation tinted hillshades, okay? And the reason why I have two is the second one, okay, has this overlay blend. Now, if you only have one, remember, this is a great trick. You just hold down Control and your left mouse button and move it up, and you don't have to go back in the catalog and search for it all over. Okay, The other thing is when you do that with data sets, you're not actually making a whole nother copy of the data. You're just really giving yourself an opportunity to symbolize it in a slightly different manner. So that's a good technique. Okay. Now I put my contours in, okay, and I symbolized these guys simply with, now it does not have this color on it, okay? This is simply symbolized with, when you do it the first time, okay, you go down to format all symbols, okay, you go to your gallery and you choose your paper cut. Okay, now even though if you go back to the main pane, you see this, it's not applied because you can see you have white symbols here and you really don't want to apply it here, okay? The only time it gets applied is if you open this up and then drop it on there, and then you're gonna see the colors here. Okay, so that's it for contour statistics, other than the fact that I've given it a multiply blend and that softens it out so we don't have all of that white in here. We want to get that underlying elevation tinted hill shade. Okay. Then for hydrology, we should have in this group your stream, your playas, and your water bodies. Okay. And if you just come up to group layer, what I've chosen to use is a linear burn, and it's got this really cool effect where you can actually see the streams kind of coming up out of the contours and everything. It's kind of neat. So I really like that. Go back to the full. And remember, you can change this the way you would like. Okay, now for the boundaries, I wanted to keep this very simple. So I have my towns and cities. Okay, let's see how I gave this red color. I think I got that from the gallery, or yeah, I think it's healthcare. And then I put a multiply blend on it, and that looks good. Okay, and then the US state borders, those look good, just a little strong here, so I'm gonna select that, go to prop. Yeah, that 3.5, that's a lot, so I'm gonna take that down to about a 2 because we really want to accentuate the hydrology here, and that helps. That was my fault to make it that fat in the beginning. Okay, so that's it for your boundaries. Now, what works out extremely well here is the world terrain reference, because it gives you the name of all of these streams, okay? And that's really, like, if you zoom in here, it'll tell you the Canadian River, which is something we use a lot for our reservoir. Okay, so that's a good one for this map. So if you need to put that in there, okay, simply right click here and, okay, my map frame is locked, so I need to unlock that. Now right click it, and when I want you guys to see what happens when you activate your map frame, because you literally switch from all of your layout tabs to all of your map tabs. Okay, so I'm going to hit activate, and boom, now you can see you are in map mode. Okay, so if you need this world terrain reference, just open up your base maps, okay, and just choose this terrain with labels, okay, and then you can get rid of these guys on the bottom. They're really just going to get in your way, and the actual reference layer will stay here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to layout. I'm going to save my project. Okay, and now I am going to go to share, export layout, and we have our settings. Everything is good to go. Okay, And this should be called Hydrology because the name of your layout is Hydrology. Okay, I'm just going to double check because I do have several projects, but here I am, 4403, exports. I'm going to choose OK, and then I am going to export this map, okay, and I always overwrite my old files unless there's some really specific reason. I've found, and I'm a lot older than you, and one of the things I've found about working with computers is you don't want to have a lot of copies of stuff that you don't know which one is really the best one to use. And so anyway, I've found just to always have the latest and greatest. All right. So I'm going to pause this while this exports, and then we are going to knock out soils and ecosystems. Okay, so let's move on to our soils map. The first thing we're going to do is let's lock everything up. And one of the things I noticed is our title really doesn't work as the number one hierarchy in our labeling system, okay? And we're not going to, trust me, we're not going to change all the titles. Let's just turn this guy off. We really just want to grab this outer border. Okay, so that's all I have selected here on ecosystems, and I'm just going to do a control copy, come to soils, okay, and just do a control V. And that is symbolized the way we want it, so I'm going to just lock that down. Now, we're going to work on this legend, okay, which I've misspelled. All right, and what we need to do here is eliminate all of the soils that are not on our map, okay? So here we really we don't need our spodosols, okay? So let's ungroup this guy. We're gonna right click and just choose ungroup. So we can just get rid of these. And you can hold down, let's see, I'm going to stop my drawing process. I think that's what's making it hard to select things. We don't need, okay, I'm going to right click here and ungroup that. Okay, so now everybody's on their own. Okay, so we're going to click spodosols, hold down shift, and we don't need oxasols. We don't need gelisols for sure, okay? And let's delete those, okay? And I think that looks good. Okay, so hold down your left mouse button, make a selection, and darn it. Okay, so we have to lock this back piece, this border. Okay, so select that. Background for legend, we're going to lock that. Okay, so now we can just select these guys. Drag these down. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to drag them down as well. Okay. Okay, now what we can do is unselect our background. And let's just make that smaller, a bit more up here, and that looks good. Okay, so I would have liked to have made these more into rectangles. They seem to be stuck in that shape, and I guess that's just the way it's going to be. So select patch 14, that might be what you have on top, okay. Make sure everything is unlocked, it should be. Hold down shift, and now we can right click and just turn this into a nice group. Okay, so let's move this up a bit, and remember, We're not drawing anything, so you may be missing some data, and that's fine. Okay, so let's lock this up. And now let's unlock our credits and turn those on. Okay, and let's find out where we put those. So we need to grab this guy here. Okay, bring it over here, and here's how we're going to work with this. Double click on the icon. Okay, now first for fitting strategy, let's adjust the width. Okay, and now we can adjust the height, and it gets into this nice box. Okay, so, and those are the guys we really do need, okay, for credits. Now we're going to go back to our paintbrush, and once again we are going to fill it with white. Okay, and we're just going to do that 0.05, tab 0.05, enter. Okay, and now what we're going to do is let's come right over here, and once again right click here and just choose add guide, right on the money. Okay, and then we can come over here and we could just drag that on down using our smart guides. Nice. Okay, I'm going to unlock my legend, grab the whole group, and just move it about like that. Okay, so that's good to go. So lock everything up, do a Control S, come up to layout, and again, don't worry about the title. We're going to put that on in PowerPoint, and we're just going to make it a lot beefier. It really didn't look like a title, but we're going to stick with the same font size and everything else, okay? Now, I do want a few labels in here, so let me show you how I've symbolized a few things. I've taken off the county boundaries. It just makes it too busy, okay? If you remember, we started with the hillshade, and then we did our soil map units at a multiply. We made a copy of that. We did an overlay. State borders, I slimmed those down a bit. They're labeled. No national border. And then for towns and cities, I made it white, okay? But I changed the layer blend to a soft light. All right, and what we can do here for towns and cities, let's take off our labeling. Okay, so you can just click that. And then we need to unlock our map frame, okay, and right click in here, and again, choose activate. And we will choose as our base map the light gray canvas. Okay, and once that's added, go back to layout right there, okay? And we're gonna turn off these base, actually, let's just remove them. So shift select, right click, remove, okay? But we have all of the labels for our cities, and all of that is good to go. So I am going to regenerate the drawing here. Oh shoot, I took off my terrain layer. So if that ever happens, you can come up here and undo. Okay, let me hit pause. Okay, so we really just need to take off the gray base. All right, sorry about that. All right, now when we redraw, we're gonna get that really dynamic look that we had before. So we're going to just let this redraw, and then as usual we can either go to the export tab here, or you can come up to share. Okay, make sure you have all of your settings right. Okay, it'll name it based on the name of your layout. Okay, wait for it to finish drawing. It might take a little time. My internet is slow today. Okay, and then we will just export that as we have exported all of our other maps. Okay, so I'm ready to export. So I'm going to hit that and pause it. Okay. One thing is if your maps are taking in inordinate amount of time to export, you can come in to OneDrive, okay, and click on the gear wheel and pause syncing. Okay, I'm just going to choose 2 hours. Okay, and that can help the issue. Okay, if you're having trouble with that. Okay. I've got a few things here that I shouldn't have opened. Okay, now last map we are going to work on here is the ecosystems. Okay, and all we really need to do here is pretty much the same thing we've done in the other ones. I already have my outer border. I turned off my title. We have a great legend. Okay, let's turn on our credits. Okay, and find out where these guys are hiding. Okay, so I'm going to pause the drawing process. Okay, and then for our last map, what I did was this one was looking really good. Okay, I just changed a few things, and let's just start from the top. We've got our outer border. We can deselect our title. Okay, our legend looks great. All of this is good to go. Now, let's get our credits in order. So we're going to turn those guys on. Same routine as before. Let's bring them down here. Okay, double click on the icon, all right, and come to this text paintbrush, and let's just do the background now since we're here, and we'll do a 0.05 again, tab 0.05, enter. Okay, and now we can go to this tab options. Okay, and this fitting strategy, we can adjust the width. Okay, and now let's adjust the height. Okay, and we'll just do the same thing we did before. We'll zoom in here, right click, add a guide. I guess that guide is there. Okay, I don't really see it. So what I'm going to do is deselect the legend, or unlock the legend, and move that straight up. And then I'm going to select our credits and line those guys up. I'm not sure why I don't see that guide. Let's see what's going on here. Wonder if I have to turn on the guides. That's what's going on. Okay, so let me select him again. Let me just turn off drawing. There we go. That's the trick. That's why I couldn't select anything. All right, and then we can grab this guy, move him a little bit. Make sure that's on the money. Okay, great. Now let's come up to layout, and we're going to choose that full extent. Okay, and let's turn our drawing back on, get that rolling. Okay, so it looks like my guide was way off here. Okay, so what we need to do is just move him down to the bottom of Texas Tech. I'm gonna have to zoom in better to do this. Okay, that'll work. And this is just kind of the painstaking part of getting everything right and professional at the end of a project. And it is painstaking, I know that, and sometimes this may not have been the most efficient process, but I think overall we did a great job. I mean, there was a few things I could have, done more efficiently, but a lot of this, and when you really get into doing projects, a lot of it is just working with the data you have and, seeing just kind of playing with it and just seeing, what looks great. Now, you will notice I have labels here. And so what I did on this top contour not contour, but on this ecosystem, well, let's take it from the bottom. Okay, so what we're going to do first is with our map frame unselected, we're going to right click and we're going to go to activate. Okay, we're going to go to base map. And once again, we're going to choose that light gray canvas just to get the labeling we want. Okay, so let's go back to layout and we could just remove the base, but we still have the reference layer. And that's going to name all of our cities and take care of some other labeling as well without going overboard. And so that's nice. Okay. Then what I did, just to give this some contours, okay, I went to the catalog and I just dropped in one of these contour statistics. So you can just drag and drop it. Now it has to go over the ecosystems. Okay. And the first one I did was a multiply, and then I held down control and did that left mouse button thing. Okay, I don't need an extra one, so I'll remove that, but that's the great way to make a copy. So for the second one, what I did was it was the same exact thing. It was a multiply. And also for our ecosystems, the first one was a multiply. We made a copy of that, and the second was an overlay. Okay, then we added our hydrology stack, okay, and that included the playas, the streams, and the water bodies, okay, and that whole group was on a multiply. And then the boundaries, okay, again, we didn't need the U.S. national border or the county boundaries, so actually I'm just going to remove those. Okay, for the state borders, again, I slimmed those down. And I really don't like this Oklahoma, so what I'm going to do here is very briefly see under labeling properties if we can go to, not the symbol, it's this position, see this guy, okay, must be this one. Okay, so here it is, minimum feature size. Let's choose inches, and we just want to take this Oklahoma off, and so let's just choose 14 inches, and hopefully that'll work. Okay, now again, the labels take a while to generate, so while that's going, what we can do is come down to this top US ecosystem. And here, let's label this. Okay, so we're going to come over to labeling. And you want it to be the US level 3 ecosystem name. Turn these guys on. And what I chose was a Century Gothic at 16. Okay, and I made that bold. And so you can see this says High Plains, the Southwest table, all of that, and that's going to help people a lot. Okay, so you can see we also got rid of the Oklahoma, so that's great. Now this guy's been driving me nuts for some reason. He just doesn't want to get, there we go. I'm just gonna leave it alone at that. Okay, so let's do a Control S because we've done so much work. Okay, and then we will export this one, and I'll hit pause when I do, and then I'll show you how to assemble all of this in the PowerPoint template that is on Blackboard. Okay. Okay, so now the first thing you're gonna need to do is make sure that you have JPEGs or PNGs of all of your files. And for some of you, if you have Acrobat Pro, you can just double click on the file, okay, and then you can go to export a PDF, and for your image format, choose PNG, okay, and then just choose, don't check that, export all images, and then just choose convert to PNG and just choose that same folder. Okay, now if you don't have access to Acrobat Pro, I have put a link on Blackboard, okay, and this is really a great website. I wouldn't put it on there if I thought it was one of those sneaky sites where, sorry, there's so much going on here. If it was one of those sneaky sites that was trying to get you to, you know, download stuff, you don't have to download anything, you don't have to sign up. Okay, so if you go to the web, let's find out where I have that here. Okay, so here's the actual link. Okay, so you can click on that and then you just select your file. Okay, so just choose that and come to your project folder. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let me choose this political boundaries. Okay, and then just open that up. And it doesn't degrade your image or anything like that. Okay, so you want to convert this PDF to a image. Okay, there it is. Okay, so select image, and then again choose, let's see if they have PNG. Perfect. So you're not going to lose any quality whatsoever. Okay, so this is PNG is better than JPEG because there's no compression, and you can just choose convert. And it's just one of those kind of websites that actually is kind of nice. So, and then they just let you download it. Okay, so that is how you can do that. Now, the reason why we didn't export our maps in ArcGIS as PNGs or JPEGs is because for some reason, if it's not wrapped up in a PDF, the software seems to not like that. Okay, so then I've created this PowerPoint template. Okay, all right, and this is the home page. Now these are the photographs I've made. I'm also going to put a map of the US here, okay, just the state outlines with the outline of the Llano Estacado in red, okay, because we do want to give people an idea of where this place is, okay. Now, feel free to click on any one of these pictures, right click and just choose change picture, okay. The only thing is it needs to be a photo that you have taken. Okay, nothing off the web, nothing your friend took, but it can be anything you feel that represents this region, this Llano Estacado region, and, you know, of course has to do more or less with the natural resources. Okay, then on these pages, which are formatted exactly to the size of our maps, okay, all you need to do is click on pictures, okay, not stock images, okay, and then navigate to your exports folder. And once you've translated all of your PDFs into JPEGs and PNGs, okay, you can just start adding those here. Okay, then at the end, when you're done with everything, I will also have a title in here, okay? And so each map will have a name. This isn't my final elevation map. So all you need to do is click on that title and you can just change it to elevation, hydrology, just the way we were doing it before. I just want to make it a lot bigger because it really wasn't suitable the way it was before. Okay, and then when you're done with everything, just go to File, Save as Adobe PDF, and it'll wrap the whole thing up into a PDF binder, okay, that you can upload to Blackboard. And that's it. Okay, so I hope that this is a process that you found very fulfilling. I hope that it was a good project. I'm really looking forward to seeing your maps, your map books, because you've created some great maps. And I know this final part can be a little bit tedious, but again, that's what separates really professional work from, just unprofessional, I guess you'd say. And especially at a 4400 level, which this class is, you guys are moving into the professional world. And I think this might be something, even if you just shoot your potential employer a link to, or just send them a PDF of this map book, that might help you land a job or an internship. Okay. So that's it for this project, and I'm looking forward to seeing your work.